Hi everyone, and welcome to The Rewind, the place where nostalgia is happiness revisited. And today we'll be looking at the legendary PS2. And if it's worth, after 24 years, to get into the retro gaming for the PS2 console. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, it will help me out a lot, and stay tuned for more vintage and nostalgic content. Now let's begin. The PlayStation 2 was launched in March of 2000 as the complete entertainment system, a modern console with backwards compatibility to the PlayStation 1 and a DVD player, something that was very expensive at the time. With a library of over 2,000 games, it's not hard to see why this console appealed to so many across the world, making it the best-selling console of all time. Now for me personally, I wasn't that into retro gaming at first. I had a PS4 and enjoyed the system very much, put lots of hours into lots of games, had a terrific time. But something has shifted in the video gaming industry, something that has led to a lot of layoffs, studios closing down, and studios overall not willing to take risks anymore on an artistic side. Now I do understand it's all about money these days, and these games cost a lot of money to make. I think Spider-Man 2 cost about $300 million. And if that game is a flop, then there's a lot of people who lose their jobs because of that. So it's become a monopoly, and they're not willing to take risks because of the losses they might suffer. Me, I like the single player experience. I like to play games at my own leisure and complete it in my own time. But I've seen my sons really enjoy the multiplayer competitiveness, and that's probably what the studios are catering for. They're catering for the newer generation. So I came to the very sad realization that these studios don't make games for my generation anymore. And as sad as this realization is, you have to understand that the companies are hunting for the next Fortnite. A money print that can assure and guarantee the studio's future. So what do? I look for comfort in the past. And there it was. Just like an old buddy from school, dared to embrace me in his loving gaming arms. Now to answer the burning question, should you buy a 24-year-old gaming console in the PlayStation 2? In my personal opinion, the answer is yes. Absolutely yes. By the end of last year, I was the proud owner of a PS2 Slim, and all of the things that I thought that would bother me, like the graphics, for instance, the clunky controls, the underutilization of the remote, and let me tell you, 5 minutes into any title that I put on, I was just, all that stuff went out the window, all of it. And it was nice to see that the console's soul was still very much intact, and it's all about fun. So, if you're looking at the system, they're not that expensive on the second-hand market. You'll mostly find people trying to throw out some of their old stuff. They find the PS2 with a stack of games. Those are the best ones to go after, I think, because you get the games, you get the console and a controller and the memory card. Very important. You need the system with the memory card, otherwise you can't save any of your games. It's terrible. On the collector side, physical media is kind of dissipating, and I think in the next 5 years there will be no more physical media. Everything will be online. You'll have to download your games if you want them for yourself. So a lot of guys like myself, I'm a collector at heart, and I sort of fell into this black hole of the PS2 games, the physical copies, and collecting them. Sort of swapping out or selling the ones that I don't want and getting the games that really has a nostalgic feeling for me. And I've really found that is, from a collector's perspective, there's a whole community out there that you can sort of source for games that you want. As I said, over 2,000 games, so there's something for everyone. And especially when you're introducing a younger generation to the console, I think this is a perfect place to start. It's, like I said before, it's decently priced, and you can get a lot of games that are specifically made for kids on the PS2. And they seem to enjoy it. My daughter has just recently started playing video games, and she really likes the PlayStation 2 and the games on there, even though the animations and stuff are silly. Like I said, the heart and soul is about having fun as a gamer. And then about the games, you know, you can still find most of the games that you played when you had a PlayStation 2 or you're just getting into it. There's a lot of games decently priced, most of them. On the other hand, horror games on the PlayStation 2 have become a kind of niche collector's item, so they do tend to go for a bit of a higher price. And I've seen the same thing in the VHS horror space. The horror movies do tend to have a larger price point on them. So if there are some of those games, you can still find them. I'm thinking now specifically Silent Hill 2, you'll still be able to find them, but you need to be prepared to pay quite a hefty price on those. Another thing is the nostalgia factor for me on the PS2. You know, I've got so many memories of the co-op function on the PS2, which for me was great. You know, you'd get a multi-tap, you stick it in, you got 5 remotes, you got 5 people sitting around the console just playing the game, and yeah, playing SmackDown in a Hell in a Cell match. Hours and hours of fun. And I think that's one element that's sort of, you know, been pushed to the background since the multiplayer thing came in, is that just, you know, having a couch buddy and playing a game. I still find that that's great fun to do that. So I would absolutely recommend that you buy yourself a PS2. I mean, it's a part of gaming history. It's the best-selling console of all time. You know, if you're not going to play it, at least just have it as a collector's item. And yeah, there's nothing more I can say about it. I mean, the PS2 is probably the greatest console ever made, and it's really easy to acquire one, and I think it's just absolutely worth it. Another thing that you need to keep in mind with the newer HD and digital TVs is the AV connection, but there are adapters on the market for you to adapt it to a HDMI to plug it into your more modern TV. That's just one element that you just need to think about if you're getting a PS2. I don't know, there was something just really special about the PS2. And I also felt like it was a playground for, you know, massive developers now. You know, they took their chances on the PS2 and really came up with some creative IPs, you know, and stuff we still play today. And for most of those companies, that's where it started, you know, and there's just something magical about the PS2. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you now. PS2, just amazing. I would really recommend getting the console, getting some games, and just take a trip down memory lane. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will be back with some more nostalgia. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Bye.